the first thing I want to discuss is over spiritualizing things. What comes to your mind when we talk about over spiritualizing the process?
Well, before we hop into that, I just want to kind of put a little thought out there
Okay.
because you said 7 things keeping you single. I want it to be clear that we're not coming off like it's somebody's fault per se that they're single.
Yeah, or you have some type of disease.
Yeah, like it's something wrong, because that's not the case.
Right, right.
It could be 7 things to consider that could possibly, um, 7 reasons that could possibly still have you in the single status or something like that. But of course, we know that it's a very nuanced conversation. So it's
Yeah.
not just like boom, 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 and this is why. No, because that's not where we're trying to come from at all. It's just some things to consider, some mindsets to consider and think about, that could help us transition into marriage for those who are single and decide that they or have a desire to be married.
Right, right.
So just to put that out there.
Okay.
So when you say over spiritualizing, I know you asked me what comes to my mind, but
Yeah.
what comes to your mind?
So you're just gonna throw it back to me? You're gonna throw it back to me?
Yeah.
Well, what I think is over spiritualizing it is when, like, we just expect God to just drop somebody in our lap.
You're so funny.
What?
Because
is that what you're gonna say?
It's like you're in
well,
my
I gave you the
notes.
chance to say it, so there you go.
I know.
But we expect God to just like, oh well, like, oh, like
Oh my
you're the
goodness.
one, like this halo over the head, and like, oh well, this has gotta be the one. I don't totally believe in the one anyway. I think a lot of stuff. I think a lot of times we have made stuff fairy tale, and we have like fairy tales, and we have bought into the Disney stuff, and like it just has to be, this, God has to like, knock me in the head.
I was special though, so
I know you were special.
I need us to.
We're not talking about Nikki Jean.
I know, but when you're saying the one, me and you have had conversations around
definitely,
this, because
definitely.
I still do feel very strongly that God, if you seek God for your spouse or who it is that He would have you to be with, in order to help you to reach your purpose and to uplift Him and to glorify Him, because He knows, even like the designing of your children and all of that, according to His will. I do feel, and there was something that set me apart, sir. Don't play.
I mean,
don't play.
Listen, I can get with you on that. I can definitely get with you on that. I guess we make stuff spooky, if, for lack of better terms. Like it just has to be so special to where, like, it's almost like the person that was drowning, and they were, like, okay,
asking God, please send me some help.
Please send me some help. Yeah.
He sent a rowboat first, and then the person was like, no, I'm waiting on God. Then he sent a helicopter. I remember those 2 things. There's all kinds of things that God sent, but the person kept on saying, no, I'm waiting on God. But God, sent. So yeah, I had down when I was reflecting on this that your spouse will not fall out of the clouds, and there will not be a bright light shining behind them with choir music playing. So that's all it's like, for real.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What you said, we were around the same, along the same lines. I also put on there, don't be so heavenly minded that earthly good, thinking that it's gonna like literally be an angelic form of a person. Like, while you do still have to have certain values in place and certain criteria, because you don't want to compromise your faith, you don't want to compromise your values, right? You still have to remember that your spouse is not going to be perfect.
Right.
After all, you're not perfect, so it's like, how can we expect for God to place us with someone who's perfect when we're imperfect ourselves? And I think sometimes we do, and like I said, I'm not saying that you don't have to have some kind of values in place or expectations, I'll say, but just let's make sure that our expectations are reasonable. Of course, for me personally, you already know, one of my top things on my list was you had to be saved. You had to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ for yourself Because for me as a woman, it's like, how are you going to lead me if you're not connected to the main leader?
Yeah, and who's supposed to be guiding you? Yeah,
Exactly.
who's guiding you?
So if you don't have that connection with God, and that's our spiritual navigation system, then there's no way that I would feel comfortable
Yeah,
with following you, because it's like, do you know where you're going?
right.
If you're not saved, to me, it's like, okay, do you have a clear path of your purpose? And who are you getting your directions from? Are you just wandering around
Yeah,
aimlessly? So things like that. But if it's like something like, okay, I wanted my husband to have the favorite color of blue. And then
yeah,
I talk to you and, oh my goodness, your favorite color is green. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. Or,
Or to
some people are very materialistic. I'm gonna put it out there. Very
mhm,
wrong.
yeah, yeah,
That's my opinion. That's my opinion. But some people are like, oh, they have to, and we've kind of touched on this before.
mhm,
Oh, they have to make this certain amount in salary. They have to drive this certain type of car. They have to wear this certain brand of clothes. All those things to me are just very materialistic and temporal and can
yeah,
change in a heartbeat. So you can
yeah,
meet somebody that could be six figures, looking nice, all that, doing
mhm,
well one day when you get into the relationship, and then they could lose their job out
yeah.
of
I
nowhere.
mean, that's a good point.
And
Yeah,
so that's what that, or over spiritualizing, like just really keeping things in a proper perspective.
yeah. Taking everything as a sign. How about that? Like, for instance, say, for instance, your favorite color was blue, and then you found out my favorite color was blue, and then you're like, oh, it must be a sign from the Lord, and it ain't no sign from the Lord. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And I guess one of the things that concerns me is I think that a lot of people just don't put themselves out there. Like, you sit up in the house all day, and but you expecting God to just have a dude just bust down your,
Well, maybe,
or female
yeah.
bust down your door. If you're a dude, ain't no female finna come knocking at your door all the time. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm your wife. Like, you really have to put yourself out there.
Unless
Like,
it's the Amazon delivery person.
you know what?
I'm
Ain't
just
nobody
thinking.
worried about and actually, it's probably some freaks out there looking at the Amazon person.
Really, Jermaine?
I'm
Okay.
gonna just call it like I see it. But anyways, we're checking out the Amazon person. You supposed to be opening your box. You're trying to open something else. But anyways,
But let's clarify. Put yourself out there. I think we need to talk about that a little bit more because some people may interpret that in different
what I'm
ways.
saying is, don't be locked up in the house all the time. Now, I understand that we're in a pandemic. I get all that, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even before the pandemic, you wasn't going outside no ways. But for instance, go outside, go take a nice walk in the park or something by yourself. Don't be with 1,000 people to where someone's intimidated by approaching you.
That could be a safety issue for
Well,
women.
yeah, but broad daylight, you know what I'm saying? Like, put yourself out
Have
there,
one friend.
do something to where you go to right. Do something to where, like, you go to a restaurant, eat by yourself. Don't be buried in your cell phone while you're in the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that to where you're just eating. You know what I'm saying? You present yourself to be alone.
Look
You know what I'm saying?
around.
You're alone.
Hey, over here.
Yeah, I
Hey.
mean, yeah, yeah. Don't be. You ain't got to do all that. But just those are
I'm
some of the.
playing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are just some of the things that you can do to kind of, like I said, put yourself out there. Stop over spiritualizing things. And I believe that's one of the things that could be keeping some of y'all out there single. I'll say y'all because we married 17
Or
years deep.
authentically, and I'm not saying to get involved in different ministries for the purpose of finding someone,
Mm-hmm.
but if you do get involved in different ministries at your church,
Mm-hmm.
then and you're automatically spending time with other believers.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us who are saved, then that could lend itself to
Exactly.
developing maybe a further, a good solid friendship that develops into a
Yeah.
relationship, But I want to clarify, please do not go to church just to find a mate, because some
Yes.
people do that. They
Some
go,
people, yeah.
like, I'm going to church to find me I guess a man, a wife, or so I can be found if it's a woman. So no, still have a pure heart, pure intentions, allow God to order your steps and direct your paths, and he can do it. You've heard, for some of you who have heard Jermaine and my story, about how we're from two different states, met as teenagers, had a long distance relationship as teenagers.
But we met each other in ministry, doing ministry.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and it can still happen like that today. You know, you can still meet your spouse doing ministry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that could be part of the courting process, because you can get a lot of those things, a lot of those questions that you have. Those things can be answered, you know, when you're actually doing ministry with somebody.
And naturally answered. Because it's like you're spending time around them to just be able to see it for yourself, because y'all may end up going out to eat together as a group or something like that.
You get to see somebody's character. You get to see somebody's character.